Hello, White Sox fans. It's Crystal O'Keefe with episode 18 of Visiting Dugout, brought to you by Southside Sox, a part of Fans First Sports Network. Today on the show, I have the lovely Swilly, a lover of Angels and a scorecard aficionado. Please introduce yourself.
Oh wow, what an intro. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm 6-1 at Angel games when I keep score. So I don't have a choice anymore. I have to keep score. But yeah, so my name is Swilly. I was born and raised in Southern California. I got into baseball because I started playing softball, and I thought, well, if I watch baseball, then I'll be better at softball, right? So there was always Angels baseball in my life, but I got really obsessed with it when I was maybe like 12 years old. And after I was done playing softball, I played up into college. There was no more softball in my life. I said, well, I guess I'm just going to have to, keep watching baseball. And here we are. So that's pretty much it. I'm just obsessed with baseball, Angels baseball. So
I love it, especially at a young age. I love when younger people get obsessed because that's how I was. I was like a toddler watching baseball with my grandpa. So
I love that. And that's awesome. I didn't really, so I grew up like 15 minutes away from Angel Stadium. So it was always kind of in my life, I guess, because I was so close, but I didn't really have a lot of family members that watched a ton of baseball. So I kind of found the love on my own, but I love that you grew up I love that. Don't mind the cattail. It's going to happen.
I have to lock my dog out of the room or else she'll bark the entire time. Plenty of guests have experienced this.
You get it.
All right, so let's chat Angels. So they're in third place. You're above 500 though, 4 games back.
Yay.
So, and I mean that's impressive because your division is not the easiest division. So what are the vibes? Like what's it like over in the American League West? Because I just don't pay enough attention to that.
No, I get it. There's a lot of storylines, lots of baseball, lots of interesting teams this year, so it's hard to keep up. I get it. If you would have asked me like a week ago, I think my answer on how the vibes are would be different, but we just swept the Red Sox and we have won 4 in a row. We've won like I think 6 of our last 7. The vibes are high. I mean, long story short, things are good. Like I said, we swept the Red Sox with the 4, 5, and 6 man in our rotation because we do have a 6th swing man. So, shutting out the Red Sox, which I mean, they're a great team. Everyone in the AL East is just so good this year. The vibes are good. I'm happy. We have an off day today. So yeah, things are good. I'm happy.
Good. So with that, like, how does it feel to have like the 2 best players in baseball on your team?
Yeah, I mean, it is for me at least, and I think a lot of Angels fans feel the same way. I feel so blessed that I get to watch them play every single day, and I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I feel like at first maybe you don't realize how good some of these players are, but Mike Trout just passed Joe DiMaggio on the home run list and he's 31. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's pretty good at baseball. And, all of the storylines around Ohtani are always insane, which I'm sure we will get into. But yeah, it's amazing. And I feel very blessed to be able to watch them almost every single day.
I once sat in the freezing rain in Chicago on a very cold late night.
Yes.
Just to watch Ohtani and Mike Trout because I was like, I'm not going to miss this. They're not in Chicago all that often, so I'm not going to miss the opportunity. And they won, and I was okay with it. I was like, no,
I'm shocked.
I'm okay. Like, I got to see Shohei. This is what I wanted.
Yes, I hear that a lot from different people on like Twitter and TikTok and stuff. Like, I watched him in Baltimore for the first time and it was amazing, or like it was a family outing. Like, it's really awesome to hear how many people also appreciate him and take the time to really Shohei's the unicorn. So it was Mike Trout, but I feel like a lot of people go watch Ohtani now, and I love that. I love, especially with the new schedules this year with everybody getting to play everybody. I think it's great. I love that. I love that you did that.
Yeah, he's just so much fun. He's like this Prince Charming, but he's also somehow like the most relatable baseball player you can find, like eating Funyuns on the team bus. I was like, there's no way I couldn't love him. Like he could go to my least favorite team ever, and I'd still be like, yeah, Ohtani.
Same. I'm an Ohtani stan for life. I wherever he ends up, I love him. And it's so funny, that picture. So Patrick Sandoval took a few film photos of the team in general, and he posted them on his story. And, in like Angels Twitterverse, we're like, I don't think Patrick Sandoval, how much he just broke the internet with that picture. Oh my God. The man is so, God, yeah, you're right. Relatable is a good word, because he's just such a goofball. Like, he has handshakes with everybody on the team. And I feel like that's the part about Shohei that the media doesn't really talk about, which like, whatever, I get it. But God, he's such a goofball, and he's so relatable, and all of the things.
He had me cheering for Japan.
Yes.
The World Baseball Classic. I was like, screw it.
How could you not? Yes.
Full on Japan. I don't care that much about this country.
Yeah, you get it. I mean, again, how could you not cheer for him? Even, I get it.
Oh, I just love him. Yeah. So, you've got a lot of crazy injuries going on this year with the Angels. First, Anthony Rendon. Like, he hasn't started his on-field activity yet, but I've heard that he's like progressing quickly, and that he might be back like Wednesday. Yeah. What's going on there?
Well, with Rendon, I don't have an answer. I mean, it's been a few years, and we still haven't even gotten a full season out of him. I saw a tweet a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember, but like, the amount of money he's made per game is like gross, because he's only played however many games. But yeah, with him, he's been an interesting storyline this year, with the Oakland series, being suspended, which, that it is what it is. That's a whole different topic that I totally didn't even think about until right now. Fans heckling professional athletes, like, I don't know. So there was that. And then, all of his past injuries. And then this year, I don't know what's going on with him. Although he started the year out great. I mean, he's doing well. I don't know what the numbers look like now with Moniak, but even with him being out for the last however many days, 10 days or so, he's still leading the team in average OPS, like all of these things, which you're like, oh, finally, is this the Rendon that we're gonna, you're a couple years late, but
what we were promised.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I tweeted this the other day. I never thought that I would say, I really need Anthony Rendon back in this lineup, but I'm saying it. Yes. So yeah.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. And then on the other hand, you've got Jared Walsh, who has been cleared to play again. But that's got to be scary, knowing, because you don't want to mess with neurological stuff, because you never know when it's going to come back. So
absolutely. Yeah. That whole storyline with Walsh has been kind of a roller coaster, because, he was an all-star in 21, was, mashing at the plate. Like, he was so good in 2021. I don't remember when he got COVID, but I think some of the neurological symptoms were COVID based. So in 2022, we saw a pretty big decline, and, fans, what's going on? Like, is it an off year? And then during spring training, he went on the injured list because he had insomnia. And me being, a piece of shit. Hopefully, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but okay, perfect. I'm like, me being a piece of shit fan, I'm like, so like, can I call out of work because I have insomnia? Like, okay, must be nice, and then you find out, well, there are neurological issues. He was having trouble with speaking full sentences. He was running into walls. He would sleep for 72 hours at a time. And I'm like, okay, I'm an asshole. Like, I didn't, like, nobody suspected it to be that bad, but, he was doing some sort of treatment in Utah, I think for like six weeks or so after spring training. And, spent a couple days in AAA, killed it, and now he's back on the field. So we're happy to have him back. while she's definitely a fan favorite and he is a great first baseman. But yeah, definitely don't want to push it too much just because, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you don't really know if some of that stuff is going to disappear for good or not. But yeah, good to have him back for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of how that's the same boat I am with Liam Hendricks, because cancer's a really big thing, and like he's a fan favorite. Everyone loves him, but at the same time, I just like want to put him in bubble wrap and be like,
yeah,
I'm gonna watch you, and I don't want to rush you.
absolutely.
And they're like, oh, he could be back next week, and I'm like, no, he just had cancer. Like,
what a storyline. I mean, I feel like every baseball human is rooting for him, and it makes me happy. It's like this is how baseball should feel, like everybody rooting for these players to, come back on the field and succeed. And he's been doing well in his appearances, yes?
Yeah, he has. He's been doing pretty well, and then they're obviously kind of monitoring him quite a bit. And again, they're doing it right. They are kind of taking it slow, but just when I hear stuff like, "Oh, he'll be back by this next series," I'm like, "No, please, like, take care of my baby boy. He's a treasure."
Yes, I love him. He's great human being.
Yeah. This kind of, speaking of Liam Hendricks, so you guys have had a lot of chatter going around because your bullpen isn't great, your outfield isn't great, and some of those people that have been talked about, Angels might be targeting someone like Liam Hendricks, Kendall Graveman, and then obviously there was kind of the off-season talk about, well, what if Tim Anderson was an Angel?
Right.
That seems to have been squashed since, but
yes,
I mean, do you think these guys would make it any better? And if so, like, who are you willing to part ways with for a trade?
Yeah. Again, I think because it's so early in the season, your feelings early on about certain parts of a team, of a squad can kind of change. Like, I feel like in the last couple of weeks, we have seen, bullpen guys find their roles. We do have a fairly different bullpen than we did last year. Even our rotation is different than it was last year. As of late, to be honest, our bullpen has been doing really well. And you can look at some of the stats and see, okay, like we have the second most saves in the league. Our bullpen ERA is fairly low, top 10, top 7 in the league. So we are seeing these guys kind of find some roles, which is good. However, I would feel good about another solid bullpen arm, and maybe another starter potentially. We do have some good talent in the minor leagues. However, I think depending on who we want, you can only get so far with prospects. I think depending on who you want, some teams are going to want solidified talent or immediate fixes, immediate needs. So I wouldn't mind seeing somebody. Oh God, this is going to break my heart because I mean, I'm sure you do too, but I just get so attached to some of these players, right? So I'm like, seeing some of these players go, it would make me rather sad. But we do have like a Joe Adele who's killing it in AAA, certified, quadruple A dude. Like he does so well in AAA, and then he comes up and he struggles. Although from what I hear, it just in the community, he's very hard on himself mentally, and has trouble with confidence. So I think that's why he's been down there for so long this year. But I think using him and maybe like a Taylor Ward, which again, I'm gonna make me so sad because I really like Wardy. But now we have Mickey Moniak who's coming up here and just like literally hitting a home run every time he's up to bat. So it's like, how do you sit him? So, maybe somebody like a Ward. Or, in 2021, we drafted all pitchers. I mean, it was a big headline. We took 21 pitchers in the draft. So we do have some good pitching prospects. But again, I think somebody that's on the 40-man, I could see maybe like a Taylor Ward. I'm trying to think of some other, like, even bullpen pieces. But maybe like a Luis Rengifo. He had a great year last year. He isn't doing as hot this year, batting average wise, but he's getting on base a lot. He's fast. He's a switch hitter. So probably a combination of any of those things.
Yeah, that's fair. And then they did just call up Sam Bachman. Is that like a good kind of fix for the interim? Like, how do you feel about him?
Okay, so I feel indifferent about prospects getting called up so soon.
Hmm.
And he was our first round pick, ninth overall in 2021. In I don't know what league your guys's double A team is in, but ours is in the Southern League, and they're testing out a new baseball down there. So
Okay.
it's supposed to. Which, God, they always get the shit end of the stick. I don't understand it, but they're throwing with like a tackier ball, and a lot of guys are kind of complaining like this is not a good solution. I don't have as much control. All of these things. So his numbers aren't fantastic this year, but I like that our front office is trying to actively fix these things now rather than in like August or September. So I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I mean, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
We do have good arms now, so I don't think it hurts us. I don't think he's just going to get thrown in there right away and pitch in every game or whatnot.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
So where do you see the Angels sitting mid-season? And then again, like even just July, and then again in September. Like, I mean, they're third, they're over 500, so it's not like
Right.
there's a big concern. But do you see them kind of overtaking Astros? Because the Astros are not what they have always been this year.
Yes, the Astros typically have a slow start, but this is a
Mhm.
slower start than past seasons. So I am hoping that the trend does continue. But I do think that we are playing a lot better ball just in general. The stats are one thing, right? But there's the eye test as well. And these guys look like they're having fun. They have the sickest home run celebration I've ever seen in my entire life. They're interacting with each other all game. They just look like they're having fun. They don't look like they're just going through the motions and whatnot. So I do hope that we are still, 5 to 10 games over 500. We are in a tough division, and we play the AL East a lot in the first half. And they're just tough, man. The AL East, they're so good this year. I mean, they're always good, but they're so good this year. So I am hoping that we are 5 to 10 games above 500, and I feel confident in saying that we can keep that pace.
Yeah, I have faith in you. Like you said, the Astros are off on an even slower start, and they did lose a lot of key pieces.
Yes.
And they are also down bad with injuries.
Yes, they are. And I mean, Jose Abreu, what is happening with that man? Like,
So, okay, so on the South side, we
yes.
always just kind of make this, almost joke of like, we want August Abreu because when it's cold in Chicago, like your April, May, he's still kind of thawing out.
Yeah.
And that's when he gets better. It's like once it gets really hot, that like Cuban blood just comes.
Yes.
It's just pumping, and he's like really good. And then I was like, but he's in Texas where it's like always warm now.
Yes.
And he's inside most of the time. Like
That's true too.
So I don't know what's going on. And at the same time, he had been on the White Sox for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big adjustment when you leave everything and kind of go to the enemy.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't even know what's going on at this point. Like I don't even think he's hit a home run yet.
He hasn't. No home runs yet. Crazy. I mean, I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm happy because that was their one addition or in the offseason that was like, oh yeah, this is gonna push them over the edge, which they are the edge, right? So yeah, I'm not upset about it. I mean, yeah, that's crazy too. But yeah, hopefully I think everybody would be okay with the Astros keeping a slow start throughout.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for everybody, but
they've had their moments in the sun. I'm ready for a new regime.
I agree.
Like literally anybody but the Astros and Yankees would be ideal at this point.
Anybody else, please.
Yes. So do you have like a good MVP candidate? Like say you have to pick an Angel for MVP right now. Who would it be?
I mean, I feel like I have a lot of options, but I feel like, I mean, Oh man, there are a lot of guys I think that have been contributing a lot. I mean, Otani's the easy answer, right? I mean, how do
Yeah.
you not just say him in any most valuable player conversation? There are a few other guys that I feel like don't get the spotlight because they have two massive spotlights in the clubhouse,
Yeah.
right? I have been really impressed with Gio Urshela this year. I love a guy that can just get on base, and he is hitting the ball. He's hitting the ball well. He's driving runners in. He leads our team in a lot of clutch categories, which has been really nice to see. So sneaky MVP. I love Gio, and he's holding it down at third base while Rendon is out. But I mean, how can you not just give it to Ohtani? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I feel guilty not saying him as my answer, but
No,
it's got to be Ohtani.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, we've both like been very mushy about him already.
Yes,
So
it's true.
I completely get it. All right, we are going to take just a very quick break to pay some bills.
Get it, girl.
All right. And we are back. Again, I'm Crystal O'Keefe, and I have Swilly on to talk about all things Angels because they are coming to town.
That's right, baby.
Very exciting. Everybody should go because, like I mentioned earlier, I sat through freezing cold rain in Chicago just to watch the best players in baseball just decimate the White Sox.
Oh my goodness. Don't even say that. Don't even say that. You know, actually, the Angels and White Sox, like all-time record, very close.
Yeah.
I don't like very close. So listen, as much as I would love to come in and get a back-to-back sweep, I'm not holding my breath. It's very possible that you guys take one or two.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the White Sox have shown some heat lately. We've got Jake Berger, who's been on an absolute tear, Luis Robert Jr., even Gavin Sheets is like hitting them out of the park. So as long as like Tim Anderson kind of just gets back into his groove, I think it could be lethal.
Yeah, I agree.
It was earlier in the season that it started to be lethal, so we weren't down so bad.
I feel that. Yes, I understand.
And, you know, we've had some pitchers that have been lights out lately. Michael Kopech just had like the best game of his career the other day. And Lucas Giolito, who, as we're recording, is pitching.
He's on my fantasy team.
Yeah, he's great. He's been back to like kind of 2020, 2021 Lucas instead of 18 and 22, where he's just been
Yes, I get it. I think, I think we are used to the pitch clock-ish, but I feel like when we're talking about I feel like there's a lot of players this year that are just like, why aren't they doing well? Or like, why is this player doing well? I think a lot of it has to do with the pitch clock. And I think we're just kind of forgetting that, yeah, we watch it, but these players have to live it and play with it. So that could be part of it.
Yeah, I just wrote something the other day about mental health, and one of the players was talking about how he lost all of his confidence with this pitch clock because he was no longer able to kind of do like his counting and breathing techniques that he would normally do at the plate. And so he lost all of his confidence and had to go on the IL for anxiety. And like he's still working with a psychiatrist on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it messes people up, especially when they aren't used to it. Like our minor leaguers were fine because it'd been tested on them already.
Right.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of, and I like the pitch clock, but I do think it's messing with some guys' timing for sure.
And I think some of these guys just probably don't want to admit it or like, whatever, the ego, I guess. But yeah, I agree. And I was very ritual heavy when I played, so I can't imagine playing it. It's got to be tough. And maybe some guys are succeeding a little bit quicker, and that's great. But confidence is everything in baseball. If you don't have that confidence, like you're gonna get crushed.
Yeah, I can't help but think of like the guys with the really funky pitching stances that they take to like warm up and just do ridiculous things. And I'm just like, well, you got to like speed this up. Or poor Johnny Cueto, who would constantly like mess with timing and everything. I'm like, well, what's he going to do now? I mean, he's not playing right now. He's injured right now. But I was like, what's he supposed to do when he's on that mound?
Yeah, there's
That was
a
a
lot of
full split.
pitchers like that. Yeah, it's crazy. Pitch clock is wild.
But yeah, so how do you feel going into this series, coming to, well, actually, it's really hot in Chicago now. I can't even say chilly Chicago anymore.
Must be nice. It's so
Summer now.
gross. I mean, as gross as, Southern California weather can be. It's like 60 and overcast. Like yesterday, I'm such a brat. Yesterday at the Angel game, I had to wear like a big sweater and like I was freezing. I'm like keeping score. It's like 58. I'm like, we're so spoiled. So I am very jealous of your sunny weather right now. I could use some sunshine. Must be nice. But anyways, so I feel good about going into the series. However, like you said, we're catching the White Sox. I mean, what, you guys have won 7 of your last
Yeah.
9 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you guys are doing well. So I think it'll be a good series. I think if you would have again asked me like a week or 2 ago, maybe my feelings would have been a little bit different.
I'd be in that same boat with you.
Yeah, I think things would be a lot different, but I think we're gonna see a high scoring series. I think I was looking at some splits earlier, and I think so. You guys are throwing Kopech, Giolito, and Lynn, and we're throwing Canning, Berea, and I have it written down. And Tyler Anderson. I don't think Griffin Canning has pitched against the White Sox, or no,
he has.
One of our starters hasn't, and the other 2 have done kind of mid-ish.
Okay.
And I think all of your guys' pitchers have, and you guys, at least compared to the rest of their splits, have done well against the Angels. So I think with that pitching in mind and, our offense in mind, which has been pretty hot, I think we're going to see a high-scoring series, which I'm always down for. I mean, a rubber match is fun, but I want to see some hits and some base stealing and some home runs and stuff. So
I love it both ways, where there's like a pitcher's duel, because I'm a big pitcher's girly, but at the same time, I love when an offense just like implodes. Usually I only love it if it's my team doing,
of course,
blowing up runs. But yeah, I agree. Like I do love just a crazy high scoring game. They had one just, a couple of weeks ago in Cincinnati. And then the other night they scored 5 runs in like the 5th inning, I think it was.
So fun.
Fun to watch.
So fun. I mean, stringing hits together is the best, right? I mean, I love that. It makes me so happy.
It's bad when like Yasmani Grandal is back to hitting home runs.
Oh my gosh.
Little slow poke, just jogging.
I know he is. It's so funny because I play MLB The Show sometimes, and his speed is always like 1. I'm like, oh, little Yasmani, you're trying though. You're trying.
My son loves to come up and like tell me different, like just everything, and he was like, "No, Yasmani is so slow." And I was like, I know, I have to watch it all the time. I still love him so much, but oh man, I mean, he's like my age. I can't imagine running the bases at my old age.
Oh my God, stop. Stop it. Hey, 90 feet's far. I'm like,
it is.
90 feet's far.
Can't do it anymore. I'd be winded running to first.
Yeah, exactly. Too far.
So do you have some like keys for the Angels to take this series? Like it's something to really, White Sox to really like look out for?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big keys for us in recent weeks has been getting quality starts out of our starting pitching. At the beginning of the year, our guy, like I was clapping and cheering when our starters went 5 innings. And I just, especially with us having some really good bullpen arms and then some really not good ones, we have to be able to get like 6 innings out of our starters, which these 3 starters, they are our 4, 5, 6, like I mentioned, but their past starts were great. I mean, Canning just went 7 innings and gave up, I don't think he gave up any runs. He might've given up 1. Tyler Anderson last night gave up 1 run to the Red Sox. So we got to get quality starts out of our starting pitching. That's like the one thing for me that I think is going to be super important. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, I mean, don't, if it's not broken, don't fix it. We're doing well. So quality starts are big for me.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
And then like, do you have any big fears? But on the other hand, like, who are kind of your biggest threats on the Angels for this White Sox team?
That's a good question. So let's see. So Kopech, Giolito, and Lynn, they're all right-handed. They're all righties.
Yep.
We tend to do a little bit better against lefties, but I think that's as with most teams.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a very deep lineup, which is something I haven't been able to say in so long. Like, we're able to plug in like good quality guys depending on who's pitching. So we do have a lot of lefties, and we are able to kind of switch up our lineups based on who's pitching. I really am excited to see how Moniak does, especially after 2 days off. He has such a hot start, and he normally does when he comes up to, when he's done in the minors. But hopefully it carries over. I would say keep your eyes peeled for Mickey Moniak. I think he's going to have a really good series because he does so great against righties. I think in his major league career, he's like 1 for 24 against left-handed pitching, so not very good. So that would be my guy that I'd keep my eyes open for.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because that's one I don't necessarily even think about, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we can move on from this series and just talk overall baseball at this point, because I love to ask who everyone has, going all the way this year.
Yeah.
Who is just really surprising you, underperforming, or is like an underdog this year. So how are you feeling overall with this season?
It's been fun. I mean, I think that there are a lot of, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of really fun storylines this year. I mean, the Rays started out the season so hot, so grossly hot. I think they're coming back down to earth a little bit, but I mean, still, they're like 32 and something. I don't even know the record right now. It's so it's disgusting.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of my biggest surprise, and maybe I'm biased, but the Rangers, even without like Corey Seager, they have, I mean, he's playing now, and of course he's killing it right now. But I mean, God, they're in first place in our division, and they have 3 to 4 games this early in the season isn't really too much. But oh my God, the Rangers are horrifying. Like, I'm more scared of the Rangers now than I am the Astros.
Yeah. And they also don't have DeGrom right now.
Right. I mean, good luck. Oh God, they had to have expected at least one IL stint.
Well, yeah, you have to with him. I love him dearly, but you have to with him.
Yes. I don't know how many times he's been on the IL. Is it only twice this year, or is it 3 times?
I think it's just been twice.
Okay. It feels like 3 times.
It feels like 70 at this point, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Rangers are great. I mean, the Orioles too. So fun to watch. I mean, that's just a group of young dudes just having a good time playing baseball. Like, they're all so young, and I don't know if the Rays keep going in the direction that they're going. And I mean, I don't know. The Orioles are fun though. And I mean, disappointment gotta be the Padres, right?
Okay.
What is happening?
Spiral.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a super team, but if they're not vibing, if they're not gelling, then you can't really win a lot of ball games that way. So,
quick question to follow up with the Rays: do you think they peaked too soon?
That's a good question. Did they peak too soon? Maybe, only because they kind of set a precedent for what their ball club is capable of. And, they really capitalized early on with a lot of teams, still getting adjusted, acclimated to all different types of things, including the pitch clock. So maybe they did peak a little bit too early, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they peaked again. Like, I think they're very capable of that. But yeah, that's a great question. Early. I think they did peak a little bit too early.
And that's such a tough division. Like,
Right.
that's going to be somebody clawing their way to first when
Right.
it comes down to it. And I mean, at this point, it could be anybody ending up in
Absolutely.
first because they are all so good.
Oh my God, I know. I mean, the Yankees have won 30 games and they're in third place.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sure. Like that's insane.
The Red Sox started off hot and they are
Right.
like they're towards the bottom now. So it's
Mhm. Yeah, the AL East is a crazy division right now. Lots of fun to watch though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially I love watching the Orioles. They have
Yeah.
just been a blast. Like I got a Adley Rutschman shirt 'cause I'm just like I'm
Yes.
obsessed with this kid. Like I just adore him. And I'm like, how can I get back to Camden to watch him this year? Like I'm trying to like figure out flight plans. I texted him
Yes.
and I was like, hey, are you gonna like be there during these dates? And she was like, no,
Yes.
I'll be in New York. And I was like, oh shit, well me too. So I guess
Me
we're gonna go see
too.
the Mets and the Yankees instead of,
Yeah.
Adley, but
There you go.
oh,
Yeah, Adley Rutschman is fun to watch. I mean, you, I don't know. Like you'd think he's been playing in the league for like however many years, and this is his sophomore season. It's
yeah,
just
and he's just so good at what he does, and he's so
yeah,
much fun. I just adore him.
yeah. I agree.
I won't be sad if they end up first. Like I would just love it and probably root for them for the whole thing.
Yeah, it's hard to root against a group of young guys. Like
Mhm.
they don't have a villain arc or anything yet. They're just having a good time. They're just playing baseball. So yeah, I agree with you. If they do end up making a run, I
Yeah.
mean, unless if God forbid they play the Angels, which I don't know. I don't even know if that's going to happen. I still am so wary to get invested in this team, even though
Right.
I am very invested in this team. But if they make a long run, yeah, that's probably going to be the team I root for.
Yeah, they're fun. And I feel the same with the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are full of like
Yes.
young guys that are just
Mhm.
having a really good time and just
Right.
playing very well,
Right.
which half the time I forget that they exist.
I know.
So for them to be making this much noise in, May, June, it's pretty wild.
It's good. It's good, especially for a team like the Diamond. It's good when different not your normal teams are doing well. It's just good for baseball.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, that I think wraps it up. So please plug your socials. Let us know where we can find you because you are a fun person to follow.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean if you guys are into, hearing people complain about baseball and memes and stuff like that. And I have been posting a lot of scorekeeping stuff too, which has been a lot of fun. My tag is just Swilly Sports. It's on all socials, so Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of the things. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're into shit posting, I'm your girl. So
That's what we do on White Sox.
yes. I know. And I have been like sort of plugged in or not plugged into White Sox Twitter, but like I follow a couple people on White Sox Twitter. I met Baseball Gal Al really early on when I started like posting about sport. Oh my God, she's an angel. I wanna meet her so freaking bad. So because of her, I'm like I have like a hand in White Sox Twitter. It's an interesting place. I feel like we have similar sentiments about a lot of different things like our shitty owners and things like that. So White Sox Twitter's fun.
It's a fun, weird little
Yes.
environment that's
I
been
love it.
created on Twitter. So, I mean, you're welcome because
Yes.
we can be a fun group. Like you said, Al is she's just a perfect little angel. And
Yes.
the kind of groups like
Absolutely.
Jackie, me, Janice, Keelan,
Yes.
Colleen, like a bunch of these like crazy, fun girls of
I
White
love
Sox
it.
Twitter. We all just kind of team up and make fun of everything.
That sounds amazing.
So yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you so very much for coming on
Yes.
and talking about the Angels. Best of luck to you. I'm sad
Thank
that
you.
I can't be at the game this weekend.
Yeah, me too. I want you to see Shohei and Trout again.
Even
But
I'm trying to like make it out to more west because I haven't been, to Angels Stadium. Like I need to do all of the
yeah.
LA and
Mhm.
LA adjacent.
Mhm.
But obviously, I would like to go to Oakland first before it's moved to Vegas.
Yes.
But yeah, like the next couple of years, I'm hoping to make it out there. So as long as he's still there.
Yes. Keep that energy. I mean, I'm sure everybody wants him to leave except for Angels fans, but
Yeah, I mean, we'd take him.
I'm sure you would.
I can offer
How could you
you
not?
Jimmy Lambert.
Oh, thank you so much. That's
Yeah,
so kind. I'll
totally
think about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And like I
Thank
said,
you.
best
It
of
was a
luck.
blast. It was a
Yeah.
blast. Yes, best of luck. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yes, same. All right.